A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Ayat number 123, Surah At-Tawbah. Ya ayyuhallazina amanu qatilul lazina yalunakum minal kuffari wal yajidu fikum ghilza. O believers, fight the unbelievers who are near to you and let them know how strong you are. You should know that Allah is on the side of the God-fearing. Whenever a surah is revealed, some of them ask, who are these some? These hypocrites. They mock and then they ask, whose faith from among you has increased by this? What difference does this ayat make to you? Every time a new ayat was revealed, then these hypocrites used to mock and then they used to say, what has it done to you? Has it increased your faith? Certainly the faith of the believers is increased and they do rejoice. And this ayat, which is ayat number 124 of Surah At-Tawbah, you can take this ayat as a daleel also, as an evidence that Iman decreases and increases. Sometimes you have seen that we are in the best state of Iman and sometimes we are in the lowest state of Iman. Even Hazrat Abu Bakr used to feel that, even other Sahabas used to feel that while we are with Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, we feel that our Iman has been raised. But when we are on our own, we are in the marketplace, we think that our Iman has gone down. So this is something very natural, but here we can take this as a daleel. And وَأَمَّا الَّذِينَ فِي قُلُوبِهِمْ مَرَضٌ فَزَادَتْهُمْ رِجْسًا إِلَى رِجْسِهِمْ وَمَاتُوا وَهُمْ كَافِرُونَ. And as for those whose hearts contain malice, this is referring to the hypocrites, it will add filth to their existing filth and they will die while they are still disbelievers. And in these ayat we also see that since this was directly talking about the hypocrites, and they got scared also, because then every time any ayat was revealed, then they used to ask one another, did you know, did you hear, did you see? I mean, they used to think that everything was referring to them and they knew within their heart that this was referring to them. So one must realize that every time a command comes, I have to see my behavior. I can go into fault if I am not ready to do it or change, and if I come up with the attitude of a hypocrite, then I can be one of them. أَوَلَوْ يَرَوْنَ أَنَّهُمْ يُفْتَنُونَ فِي كُلِّ عَامٍ مَرَّةً أَوْ مَرَّتَيْنِ ثُمَّ لَا يَتُوبُونَ وَلَا هُمْ يَذَّكَّرُونَ. Do they not see that they are tested every year once or twice? How are they tested? That by any calamity or affliction that will come to them. Yet they neither repent nor learn a lesson from this. Now who is this referring to? For all the hypocrites, because tests will come in their life also, and this was a very big test for them, the Ghazwa Tabuk, and if they had learned their lessons, they could have reverted. So why didn't they take these commands? Why didn't they change themselves? So the fault lies within the person himself. Whenever a surah is revealed, they look at each other as if to ask, is anyone watching? Because they knew that Surah At-Tawbah, these ayats were directly talking about them. So they used to ask one another, was anyone watching? Then they silently slip away, because whenever the truth about them was declared, they could not stand there and take it, so they used to slip away. Allah has diverted their hearts, that is from the guidance, for they are people who do not want to understand. They never accepted it, so Allah also took away that ability, that tawfiq from their hearts to understand. لَقَدْ جَاءَكُمْ رَسُولٌ مِّنْ أَنفُسِكُمْ عَزِيزٌ عَلَيْهِ مَا عَنِتُّمْ حَرِيصٌ عَلَيْكُمْ بِالْمُؤْمِنِينَ رَءُوفٌ رَحِيمٌ. Now there has come to you a Rasul from among yourselves, the one who grieves at your loss and who is excessively anxious for your success, that is in dunya and in akhirah, and who is compassionate and merciful towards the believers. Now if they turn away from you, O Prophet ﷺ, say, Allah is sufficient for me, there is no God but Him, in Him I have put my trust. And we see that Prophet Muhammad ﷺ lived with those people. We lived with the Arabs for almost 40 years. He never started talking about any revelation. And now that he started talking about the revelation, how could it be that this was something that he will make up? Why didn't he start talking about the Quran 40 years ago? Why after 40 years? And this last ayat that says, فَإِن تَوَلَّوْا فَقُلْ حَسْبِيَ اللَّهُ. Then if they turn away, if they don't listen and if they don't mend their ways, then Allah says, La ilaha illahu alayhi tawakkaltu wa huwa rabbul arshil azim. This part of the ayat from where it starts, La ilaha illahu, this ayat is also a masnoon dua, and if anybody would recite it 7 times in the morning, 7 times in the evening, then this is a dua that will suffice for his dunya and deen. Because you see, it declares tawheed and complete dependence upon Allah, complete tawakkul upon Allah. So for any time when one is feeling low, or he thinks that he needs help, and all he needs to say this dua is that this is like Hasbi Allah, for me Allah is enough, I just need Allah to help me. So this dua 7 times in the morning, 7 times in the evening. We are going to start Surah Yunus. This surah is a Makki surah. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alif Lam Ra, Tilka Ayatul Kitabil Hakim. Alif Lam Ra. These are the verses of the book of wisdom. Akana linnasi ajaban an awhayna ila rajulin minhum an anzirin nasa wa bashiril lazina amanu anna lahum qadama sidqan inda rabbihim qala al-kafiruna inna haza la sahirun mubin. Now we know that Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, while he was in Medina, people used to put a lot of allegations, then they used to mock at him, then they used to call him by different names, then they used to ascribe certain skills with him or certain images with him. And here we see what they are referring to is that Allah says, it seems strange to does it seem strange to the people that we revealed our will to a man from among themselves? Because Nabi Sallallahu was amongst those people living with them all his life, saying, warn mankind and give the good news to the believers that they are on sound footing with their Rabb. The disbelievers say, this man is indeed an obvious magician. So they are referring to him as a magician now. And who is a magician? A magician is only trying to show what is not true. Nabi Sallallahu on the other hand is trying to prove what was true. How can these two be alike? So, Inna rabbakumullahu allazi khalaqa samawati wal arda fi sittati ayyamin summa istawa ala al-arsh yudabbiru al-amr ma min shafi'in illa min ba'di izni. Zalikumullahu rabbukum fa'buduhu afala tazakkarun. The heavens and the earth, the fact is that your Rabb has created the heavens and the earth in 6 days. Now 6 days or 6 time periods, wallahu alam, and then established himself on the throne, that is Arsh. Now of course Allah has established himself on the throne the way it befits his majesty, and is directing the affairs, that is, of the universe. None can intercede for you except the one who receives his permission. This is Allah your Rabb, so worship him. Will you not receive admonition? Will you not then take a lesson? إليه مرجعكم جميعا وعد الله حقا إنه يبدأ الخلق ثم يعيده. To him you shall all return. Allah's promise is true. He is the one who originates the process of creation and repeats it, so that he may justly reward those who believed in him and did righteous deeds, that is, with justice. As for those who disbelieve, they shall have boiling fluids to drink and shall undergo a painful punishment because they rejected the truth. He is the one who gave the sun its brightness and the moon its light, established her phases that you may learn to compute the years and other such counts, that is, of the months, days and weeks. Allah created them only to manifest the truth. He has spelled out his revelations for people who want to understand. Inna fi ikhtilafil layli wan nahari wa ma khalaqa Allahu fis samawati wal ardi la ayatin liqaumin yattaqun. Indeed, in the alternation of the night and the day and what Allah has created in the heavens and the earth, there are signs for those who are God-fearing. One sign is the sign of the universe, and one sign is the ayat of the Quran. Even Quran in itself is a miracle for us. And similarly the signs of the universe. So Allah says, for those who are God-fearing, they will go into the pondering, they will go and then try to understand what is this concept of day and night, who has created the day and the night, why does not day come before night, and why does the night not come before the day, why are they both following one after the other, and then if it is so, why is it that the sun comes up at his prescribed time and the moon comes out at his prescribed time? How is it that these two don't mingle, or they clash, or their timings differ? So Allah says people who have the fear of God, then they are going to think about these things, and then this is going to definitely bring them to a conclusion that there is a creator and he exists. Inna allazina la yarjuna liqa'ana, Allah says, as for those who do not hope to meet us. Now who are these people who don't believe in believing? Of course they were in the first place the disbelievers. Being well pleased and satisfied with this worldly life. For them the gain of dunya is the ultimate gain of life. For them the losses of the dunya are the ultimate losses of their life. For them it's all about who is going to be better over here, who is going to gain more over here. So Allah said, for all those people who are satisfied and those who give no heed to our revelations, for them then of course these are the people who will think then that means there is going to be no Qiyamah. They shall have the fire as their abode because of what they have earned. In fact, those who believe and do good deeds, their Rabb will guide them because of their faith, and rivers will flow beneath their feet in the gardens of bliss. Their slogan therein will be, glory to you Allah, wa da'wahum fiha subhanakallahumma wa tahiyyatuhum fiha salam wa akhiru da'wahum anil hamdulillahi rabbil alameen. So we see that Allah says that their slogan therein will be, for those who will end up in Jannah, their slogan is going to be salam. And this is one of the reasons why we should practice and say salam whenever we have to greet someone. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. This is like you are practicing here what you are going to hear in Jannah, and this is the practice of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu, and Nabi sallallahu had taught us to the extent that say salam to those you know and say salam to those you don't even know. When you are crossing by, of course, when we are crossing, when we come across people, if ladies are crossing by ladies, they can say salam. If men are crossing the men of their society, then they can say salam. And of course the one who says salam first gets more rewards. For assalamu alaikum there is 10, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah there is 20, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu there is 30 good deeds written. So Allah says that their slogan is going to be Allahumma, their slogan is going to be Subhanakallahumma, and then the last thing that they are going to say is also going to be all praises are for Allah, who is the Rabb of the worlds. If Allah were to hasten the punishment for their evil as they hasten in asking good of this world, then the respite given to the people would have been terminated. But this is not the way of Allah. We leave those people alone who do not entertain the hope of meeting us, to wander about in their rebellion. وَإِذَا مَسَّ الْإِنسَانَ الضُّرُّ دُعَانَا. Whenever affliction touches a man, he prays to us. Now this is a general psychology that Allah is portraying over here as for humans. Every time there is a disaster, a problem, affliction, Allah says he prays to us. Whether lying down on his side, li jambihi or qa'idan or qa'ima, lying down on his side, sitting or standing. Falamma kashafna anhu durrahu, but as soon as we relieve his affliction, marra, he walks away. Ka'allam yad'una, as if he had never prayed to us. Ila durrin massahu, for removing that affliction which has touched him. Kazalika zuyina lil musrifina ma kanu ya'malun. Thus the foul deeds which they do are made fair seeming to the transgressors. I'm sure in our lives all of us must have come across certain situations where we were too desperate, and for us it was a life and death situation, and consciously or unconsciously the word, the name of Allah comes on our mouth, it comes on our tongue. Oh Allah, save me. Even in the cases of non-believers, you must have seen that when they are going through a certain disaster, oh my God, whether they believe in him or not, but this word oh my God, this name oh my God comes out automatically. In the cases of idol worshippers, no matter how idols they are worshipping, for the people who worship technology, for the people for whom anything that is taking the place of God in their lives. A time comes, and Allah has proved this time and again to man, that you are dependent on me and you will call out for me, and then your idols and all that you associate with Allah are going to vanish completely, and you will desperately call on me. And we see that in many lives these instances have been quoted, and for some those instances have changed their lives, and in some cases which Allah refers over here, He says, now when I relieved him, he just walked away as if nothing happened. Take the example of a plane, and if there is a turbulence which is just not ending and you feel that something can happen to the plane. I remember there was this one celebrity who was mentioning his case, and he was saying that I could hear that people were just having fun on the plane, someone is listening to the music, someone is watching the movie, they were eating and drinking, and everybody was in a very happy mood, enjoying the flight. And then all of a sudden the turbulence started and nobody paid heed to it, but then it started to happen more and consecutively. So then people started going to their seats, then they started fastening their belts. Then he said, I saw people, some of them, they started removing their headphones, some of them started shutting down their screens because the turbulence was not just going away. And then he said that finally within a few minutes there was silence in the plane, and then the next minute everybody started praying, and then he said I could hear people reciting kalma and they were all saying it very loudly. And that was the time he said that I said to myself that had this point of calling on Allah not important, I would not have put down my headphones. I should have still listened to my music and I should have still watched the movie. What is it that made me call on Him? And why didn't I continue with what I was doing? It's because that desperation came when one was just not far away from his death. If the plane can crash, so will the people crash. So that was the point. That man, when he came back, he said that point changed his life, and then he turned towards the religion, and then etc. But what I'm trying to say here is that Allah says they will sit or stand or lie down or walk, they are going to call on Him. The second example is, take the example of any disease. When we know someone can die, maybe there is an emergency or accident, and all of a sudden the situation changes and one is going in the ICU and then he's on the respirator the very next minute, and then the doctors are coming out and saying, we don't know, all you can do is just pray, we've done our best. In some cases the doctors say you'll have to take him home because we can't treat him any further. People go into coma, and then there are, for example, hemorrhages and strokes, etc., etc. What do the people outside stand and do? All they are doing is praying. And Allah says, once I cure them, the man comes out of the respirator, he's out of the ICU, he comes in his room, he comes home, Allah says he walks away as if he had never even called on me. And we simply say, oh well, strokes do happen, it's okay, it was normal. You know, bypass has become so common, everybody has a bypass, so it's okay. And Allah says, it's like they never called on me ever. But those moments when one was calling, he was so desperate that he can give away sadaqah as much as he can just to save the life of his child or his beloved one. Take the third instance, when someone has been kidnapped. Those moments when you don't know where your beloved one is he alive? You're not getting a call. That desperation, I'm sure a lot of us can imagine these days. You can hear from so many people that someone or the other from their family has been kidnapped. So you can imagine the frustration, and then you can imagine the anxiety and stress, and then out of that desperation, who do they call upon? And then once Allah has relieved that man and he comes home, and someone will say that I need to go and pay this money to XYZ because he saved my child. Yes, there are sources and reasons where we need to be thankful, but the first thanks goes to Allah. Similarly, in the name of the plane, nothing, whether it's a train, it's a car, it's anything. Why do we recite that dua when we sit for traveling? Subhanallazi sakhkhalana haza wa ma kunna lahu muqrinin wa inna ila rabbina lamunqalimun. We would not have been able to control this device had it been the will of Allah. This is what we talk about connection with Allah, that yes, you can use the resources but connect them, and if one cannot connect, then it's like you're depending upon the resources, which is the wrong approach. Depend upon the resources but take the help from Allah, because the resource, and a lot of times you will have seen that in so many cases the errors are always done by humans. Time and again Allah has tried to make man understand by showing these signs, whether it is in the form of calamity or disaster or affliction or trial, that you are dependent. So why do you forget that? Once you have come out of that situation, what makes you forget that? Look at the times of Ramzan also. We are desperate in asking for forgiveness, but once the Ramzan finishes, what do we go back to? We go back to the same lifestyles. No namaz, no sadaqah. We just save those few days that we are not going to do this. No, at times people say no TV, no music, no movies, no parties, no alcohol. But the moment the Ramzan finishes, then we go back to this. It's like you thought that this was just one time that I was supposed to do, and then later on I am not supposed to. But Islam talks about 24/7. Something that has to be said 24/7. Something that you have relied upon has to be relied upon 24/7. So, in this case we also see Allah says, كَذَلِكَ زُيِّنَ لِلْمُسْرِفِينَ. Allah says that He has made this deed very fair seeming to those who transgress, the musrif, who lose their balance, who go towards the extravagance. Musrif, they go beyond the limits, and this is not this is for something for us to understand. وَلَقَدْ أَهْلَكْنَا الْقُرُونَ مِنْ قَبْلِكُمْ لَمَّا ظَلَمُوا. We have destroyed generations before your time when they adopted unjust attitudes. Whether it was the attitude of a zalim, whether it was an attitude of a musrif, whether it was an attitude of someone who was a fasik, Allah says Allah has destroyed generations after generations. Their Rasuls came to them with clear signs, but they would not believe. Thus do we requite the criminals. Then we made you their successors in the land, so that we may observe how you would conduct yourselves. When our clear revelations are recited to them, those who entertain no hope of meeting us say to you, bring us a Quran different than this, or make some changes in it. O Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, tell them it is not possible for me to change it myself. I follow only what is revealed to me. Indeed, I cannot disobey my Rabb, for I fear the punishment of a mighty day. We are going to take a short break here.